Good morning. We'll start with the small booklet, the Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga. From the heart of the Saviour, the 100 deities of Tushita, on a peak of a cloud resembling a clump of extremely white fresh curd, King of Dharma, omniscient low sun dropper, please come here together with your sons. In the sky before me, on a lion throne, lotus and moon, my perfect pure Guru smiles with delight. Supreme field of merit for my mind of faith, please abide for 100 eons to spread the teachings. Your holy mind has the intelligence, understands the full extent of objects to be known. Your holy speech with its excellent explanations is the ear ornament of those of good fortune. Your holy body is radiantly beautiful with glory renowned. To you who are meaningful to see, hear, and remember, I prostrate. Pleasing drinking water, various flowers, fragrant incenses, lights, scented waters, and so forth. Oceans of cloud-like offerings, both actually arranged and mentally emanated. I offer to you the supreme field of merit. Whatever non-virtue of body, speech, and mind, especially those opposite to the three vows that I have collected from beginning this time, I confess each and every one with fervent regret from my heart. You strove for much learning and practice in this degenerate age, and made your freedoms and riches as meaningful. By abandoning the 8 worldly concerns, Saviour, we sincerely rejoice in your extensive deeds. Perfect, pure, holy gurus, from the billowing clouds of wisdom and compassion, in the sky of the Dharmakaya, please let fall a rain of profound and extensive Dharma upon the receptacle of those to be subdued exactly as they need. May whatever virtue I have collected benefit the teachings and all transmigratory beings, and in particular may it cause the essence of perfect pure Losantrapa's teachings to shine forever. Saji porki joshi meto Ravlingji ni degen badi sange jindu mi te owa Yidro Kunamda Ji Lachun Basho. By the merits of having offered this mandala to Lama Tsongkhapa and his 2 sons, may I, my family members, and all sentient beings be able to meet, practice, and actualize the teaching of the victorious one, No Sandrapa, who had the morality of an eminently pure way of life, was courageous in extensive conduct of the sons of the victorious ones, and accomplished the yoga of 2 stages of supreme bliss and emptiness. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kaniyatayami. By the force of having fervently requested in this way, hollow beams of white light are emitted from the hearts of perfect pure father and sons, and combining into one enter my crown. White nectar, the color of milk, flows from the opening tube of white light, cleansing all my sicknesses, spirit harms, negative karmas, obscurations, and their imprints without exception. My body becomes as pure and clear as crystal. So we'll do the 5-line mixima on page 8, 3 times together. Migme sewe tichen chenre zig, dreame kempe wampo jumpel yang, dupon malu jomse sanwe dan, genshin kepe sungen songkap, losan drape jabla sowade. Migme sewe tichen chenre zig, dreame kempe wampo jumpel yang, dupon malu jomse sanwe dan, genshin kepe sungen songkap, Losan drape jabla sowade. Migme se wei te chen chen wei si, dreame kempe wampo champel yang, dupon malu sham se sap. Genshin kepe sungen son kapa, lo san drape shabla so wate. And then we'll do the prayer for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Fearless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas and Pradika Buddhas, victorious Larsan, father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge at infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now, holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice. You wore the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable Venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and from other living beings you suddenly departed to peace, what a great loss. Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels and the great waves of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples.
Sanje Chodang Tsojin Chonum La Chancho Pardo Dan Japsun Dagi Chushi Jeban Dagi Rolampe Sanjin Drubar Sho Sanje Chodang Tsojin Chonum La Chancho Pardo Dan Japsun Dagi Chushi Jeban Dagi Rolampe Sanjin Drubar Sho Sanji Chodong Tsojin Chonum La Chancho Pardo Dani Japsun Dagi Chushi Jeban Dagi Rolam Pen Sanjin Drubar Sho Namo La Yekedon Lodan Jengi Tribon Dana Mi Yekedon Rokunji Tanum Chizam Tamji Kedu Dagi Chuden Do 강기 투진이 손에 따와 당시 밤비식 삼비춘 된지 거담 때라 창세로 Good morning everyone. Shabadele.
Isla Shapidelek.
Enteri kunzul love to kachi pendo andela love to
Lobchuk.
yeah.
Lobchuk.
How many students here?
Students Lobchuk.
How many? 14. Yeah. 14 students
Okay.
come here. 아니 나 재무직자였어. 재무직자였어. We have one game. I have one mala. Mala tingachiyosra. And I think I give one children. If you can give your name to me, and then I take and I give. It's okay?
So it's like a drawer. So if each child wishes to give their name, and then Kishla will draw a name, and then Kishla will give his rosary, his bakla.
Yes, it's okay?
Would you like to?
Means charjarosis.
So write your name.
And it shows devs again.
And then fold it up.
Thank you. S-A-L-A. Come. Sala. Yes, yeah. Please come. Welcome. Thank you. 아니, Dangimila, my name is Geshe Tsultrim. I'm born in Tibet. So my English is not good. I have translated, good translator. She helped me. 1969. And then I'm 13 years old. I came to monk. And then 1987, I left Tibet to India. Understand? And I study in Buddhism. More than 20 years. And I came Geshe. Geshe means my titles. Yeah, and my study is not easy. And I think very hard. That time need to get up morning 3:34 a.m. Get up. Then 5 a.m. start morning puja. Need to go to monastery. 4 to 5, 1 or 45 minutes, and we need memorize text. Almost every day, 1 page or half page need memorize. And then go puja 1 hour, 30 minutes, sometimes 2 hours. The puja all together. In my monastery, they have 3,500 monks. And then after puja, and then I need to go to class with teacher. Then I go getting the lobdik chegres. Lobdik then the chig so. I need to go gobala. And I go tanda. So but so sandro gres. So but so kanji chuzu chugchig bardo. Ani lobjong gosu gres. Chuzu chugchigla. Chugchig chegala. Ningu kala time gres. Ningu kala do. Ningu kala tsanda. Mang cheji. Kama shivchus chuzu chigs. Niku gres. Teni yalang subutu. Teni yang genzala dogores. Ani zendatu. Ani tsuyong lobjong che. Konda chuzu tukbani zoba zoya tsodogores. Chuzu chubani tsondi. Kasi chuzu tukbani tsondi. Chuzu tsushala chuzu chugni 쭉직 체가 쭉니 갑고로 추서 당보된데 하러 그랬어. 그 저버전. 용 연전 참선을 데블로고에 드려는 데블로 아니 추수 숨 실락 관대찬을 패신이 말했어. 또 제니 아니 로 뉴슈린이야 롭종 치레스라 로 뉴슈린이야 롭종 치레스.
So Geshe spoke about going to prayers every day, going to puja every day. So after that, then they would go to class with their teachers, and the teacher would advise and guide them in the texts and studies that they are going on at that time. And then from 9 a.m., they would go to the debate ground, yeah, until about 11 a.m. And then 11:30, there would be lunch. And then usually after lunch, there would be, most people would rest, maybe for an hour or so. And then after resting, they would wash their face, and then Geshe would go to his teacher's room and would have a discussion. And then finally, they would go again to the debate from about 6 p.m. until perhaps 11 or 11:30 p.m. They would debate. And then sometimes they would even debate till 12 or 1 a.m. Yeah. So they would also, after debate, they would go back and read their books and look at the various topics that they would debate. So usually there would be about 3 or 4 hours of sleep per night. So Geshe did like this over a 20-year period. This is the way that Geshe maintained and engaged in his studies over a 20-year period. That's a lot.
갑자기 먼저 칼라 교배열했어. 담가도든지 기어 말에 쇼자 가두이나 작 모칸다 발리치열했어. 근데 가두이나랬어. 그러 님만 딱 봐래 말던데 때 담가서 기어 말했어. ninguém tinha da daliciores de dal ta 참라 미팅이 진다 쳐봐요 아니 발레다 처음인데 참
Some of the subject love group.
sabji ya teni gonda mong tukbares tukba.
So at that time, when Geshe was at the monastery, the quality of food was really quite poor, and especially there wasn't any choice. Every day it was tea and bread for breakfast, and for lunch it was usually rice and dal or lentil. Yeah. Sometimes there is a sponsor, and then at lunch they would get extra vegetable or extra bread. And usually in the evening for dinner is tokpa, which is a Tibetan soup, a noodle soup. That's all.
에디 파라델라 케케 사이요 말다스 근데 찬스로에너다 아니 총관은도 님바드라마다사 드라마다 똥 제여라스라 드라마다 사이여라 사이똥여라 칼라 소주 니마지 칼라근 조송 델레 라가지 파라기 님바사야레 땅겨라스라 안줄라 깔디 짜오니 니가 말했어 지금 동권의 추주 동야래 뭐도 전부 원이 요 말했다. 라 갑자기 1987 to 2007 요 말했어. 이내야 비기 로종 코랑래야 샘텐 로샤로스 로종 코랑래야 샘텐 로샤디 샘부 기부 베요레스.
So in between the meals, there was actually nothing extra that one would eat. Yeah. So perhaps some of you, maybe in between your meals, you would actually go to the canteen or the shop to buy an extra snack, something to eat or drink. Yeah. So, but at the monastery, it wasn't like this. There was only the 3 meals per day. Yeah. And the only thing that was on offer to drink was water. Yeah. So it was like this between 1987 and 2007. We only ate in this way, but we actually were very focused on our studies. And because of this, we're very focused and actually very happy and very enjoyed.
당간도 차와 인자 강강 강강망부요 말했더라. 다 랍드다 톨럽도 진바나 다 직수수 촉보 촉모다 지여라다 진디베 아니 착도다 드니 아니 쩨버셔야다 드니 망부 연구여서라서 당간도 아니 참아 수수 촉보를 맞아지 아니 지여라다 수수기 니 가로 인사로 드니요 말았어. 메디sambal라 안 참아야 참부치는 로트게지 간지 딘디기 토냐 먼저 아니 샘바디 기부친 데투고야서레스 아니 니버들이야 게겐 소임바이나야 게두들 빼 마서 장부치 그랬어 라 장부빼치 그랬어 샘딩 째워요레스 게겐이나 게두라 째워요레스 아니 게두 속이 다 수수 게겐슬라운데 시오지베 구십당 가오요레스 다 게인다 게두니 참부 통부야고 차원디 아니 게겐디 카릴라바디 게두디 냥그리 게두디 카르 마시와이나 람사 게겐레야 케제티야라 소바다 도 지원디 아니 로종라야 베팽기도 왔어라 로종 팸바서모세 게두 로종 징인기 부그기 샘강레나 텐데 아니 기부차가 왔어레스.
So since they were living in a monastic university, they were all monks. And since they were monastics, they really had very few difficulties. Yeah. So sometimes at school, there are many friends and different groups. Yeah. And because of this, sometimes there can be jealousy and competitiveness. But in the monastery, since we were all monastics, we regarded each other in a friendly way, but in an equal way. And I think this is what allowed us to remain very happy. Yeah. And secondly, the relationship between the teacher and the student. Yeah. The teacher was very kind and loving towards their students. And likewise, the students very respectful and very caring towards the teacher. So they had the very supportive relationship. Yeah. The teacher would care for the student. And if the student had any questions, then they would be able to ask directly. So, and the student would listen to the advice of the teacher. Yeah. So not only this teacher-student relationship, not only that supportive relationship, but the relationship for the young monk, it was very supportive and very caring. And this created a very secure, happy mind for the young monastics. Lazarus.
nganzu gombagi gigin tuzolaya lacha chi yo mares.
Lacha?
Lacha. Lacha snawe.
Lacha ni no.
Yeah.
Lacha ni kankla.
Kangat suzu tanglang res, tangdal enchen. Ani gigin kaji gi shogi chuzu ta dumbani cheni. Konda chuzu chupas parto. Gitu lah ya. Lobzen labgyo res. Lobzen labgyo res. Dip the gitu telia pen tok konas ondaya mato gegen korana suchi raya gi samlo korayo mares.
So the teachers that were there at the monastery, they weren't paid a wage. They weren't given any allowance, yeah. They did all of their teaching and sharing their knowledge voluntarily, yeah. So between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m., the teacher would give lessons and advice to their students throughout the entire day, but they wouldn't take any allowance or wage for this, but keeping in their mind, the teacher's mind, only sharing and teaching the students with the thought of benefiting and helping them. Let's look.
Then also once a week day off is tela pinangado ina mangche genzala droshagiyas. Genzala droshagiyas. Ani susugali mashi tokba yobata chama gen keji tichores. Ani gengi kya mixi kita takba genzan dron dita ji pet pawa the punang shen roshi pet semda niwo chambu shu yungres. Odindichin drawings ra and tamading gendi ani konlo guchu koni lai kombo zosons. Ngats Australia mayong kongi gendi 92 kombo zosons ra. Ngala gengi ta nganzu tatubgora ta every week cut he gengi tatubshaji chansanji da ani gengi semo lakpe semo tubshaji chansanji nindinan chuyes ngala zinda tiksatila kaduna gen yu samni ani nge zinda tiwandi ngaji wu pedos.
Yes.
Yeah.
So once a week, they would have a day off or a holiday. Yeah. Usually, what Geshe would do on his day off would be to go visit his teacher in his house or in his room. And Geshe would ask any questions or raise any doubts that he might be having with his studies with his teacher. But Geshe really feels that his relationship with his teacher was something very special. It was like a father-son relationship, a really very close relationship. Yeah. And then before Geshe arrived in Australia, Geshe's teacher at the old age of 92 years old, Geshe's teacher passed away. But over the years, Geshe had collected a lot of their hair. They would shave, cut their hair on a weekly basis and the nail clippings. So gathering all of these up, then Geshe's actually constructed this, what they call a stupa, and sitting next to him there, or in Tibetan, a curtain. So inside, the cuttings of the Geshe's teacher's hair and fingernails are inside. So Geshe feels that his teacher's presence is right here with him, especially when Geshe is giving classes and teachings. So this makes Geshe feel very happy to have this stupa next to him. Lazula.
텐당 안주 장야 조절하스라. 롬생 난게다 텐다 조디 가서다 장바데 닌지 다 셰럽드레스. 간지 닌지다 셰럽니디. 안주 넘버 난추그 난게 비기 장야기 롬생기다 텐당 오마디 닌지다 아니 셰럽니드레스. 디 키체시드레스. 남비기 롭종 저 난추 칭인기 다 곰갸야 있는 자 장야기 냉가 있는 자 아니 타동디 닌지당 셰럽트 차고레스.
So the main purpose of our studies, our practices are love and compassion and also our wisdom, yeah. But mainly it's the compassion and wisdom. So this is the main purpose behind Buddhism, yeah. The love and compassion and wisdom. So regardless if we are studying or if we are practicing, meditating, and so forth, ultimately is compassion and wisdom. So,
디 닌지당 셰럽디 이지미 넘버 찍고지기 장야지 레몬도 아스라. 무연에서 섬당 와이나. 먼저 소착 참을로야. 아니 세원 닌지 고야치 차고라스라. 디난기다 미 드로미지 바이나. 미 남주 다 롭종 약부 셰럽 약부지 니버도 고도 아스라. 다 디리다 셰럽 간다지 공부할 땅 고레스. 셰럽 공부할 땅에디 아니 자다 자랑수 임바네 다지 셰럽이 약시 두소 리버 총시 두소기 아니 체릭다 맨다 실을 소바 로 롭종 토시 장 저거디 디 리버 약부 보고 하장 정부지면은 깔레 열었으라 깔레 됐다 딘저 정부디 장바이나 셰럽 장바이나 셰럽디 공벌든 조여레스 그냥 정부 찍보지기 아니 미디 야부 차거랬으나 깔카고 차거랬으라 잠블리나 하고다 미 정부 미 장부 아니 밀라야 하장그 네치 네버단데게 딘리 연구여라스라 다 정부 장부 디 냠도 제위기 상바잖아 현래 제위 상바잖아 제와당 셰럽 송도 되어잖아 잠블리는 펜토토야기 미지 차고라스라 디르다 디 장고레스 당한즈라 장야 디 장고레스
so when we speak of compassion and wisdom, Buddhists are not the only ones that study and reflect about this. Compassion and wisdom is looking at all living beings. They all need love, compassion, and wisdom, yeah. So when we speak of wisdom, we can think of in terms of the human intelligence, yeah. So one's human intelligence, if we look at study and reflection, then we are increasing our own wisdom, yeah. So in general, there is a review and study on a scientific basis and also in the medical fields, yeah. But without a decent level of discrimination and intelligence, then it's very difficult to grasp the ideas behind the science and medical fields, yeah? So if we study and reflect, then this is going to be increasing our intelligence and wisdom, yeah? So, but only having this intelligence and wisdom, there are people that really do still harm others. So we must conjoin this wisdom and intelligence with love and compassion. We must bring them together. So in this way, using the wisdom and compassion, they will really be able to benefit the world. So this is the purpose of our studies.
안 잠블리낭 망부 총여라서 뽐부 망부 아니 빼왕 가서 왕친부 아니 짱부 고대부 아니 인지 맹인 속에 되니 잠블리낭을야 다지 미사이 망부 매버서거라서 아이 짱부여레 고대부여레 이마이나야 인지 매디 아니 밀 네버 땅가다스라 다야 인지 연이 셔럽 매바이나 양 개체투고 말했더라. 딘디로지 니버 메교로지 하드로에게 년가 도스라. 단 인지다 셔럽 손도 제치니 아니 다 캐는도 마음바 아니 롱바디기다 고틱 차와이나 야샤자담 받더니 롱바딜이야 펜토투그라스라.
Gotik labda?
아,
Gotik labda?
고틱세나 봉보
A little later. That's it. So there are many world leaders that have great intelligence and great wisdom, and they have great power, but they lack compassion. They lack the ability to empathize, yeah. And due to this, even though they may be very intelligent, but they still harm and destroy many millions, yeah. So without the compassion, then intelligence is really very harmful alone. But then on the other hand, when we have the compassion without wisdom or intelligence, then this is limiting our ability and our capacity to help. So if we're able to proceed in conjunction together with the intelligence or wisdom conjoined with compassion, then in the future, if you become leaders, then this would be of great benefit. Lazula.
단 잠블리낭로라 라 다 야컵 톱신도서다 고틱 드니 총부당 장부 레온디 드니 벤줄 소토요라스라 벤줄 침부 소토 다 벤줄 침부 소니 벤줄디 아니 잠블리나야 펜도 치요라스라나 다 펜도 다 여도 요라스라 임바이나야 벤줄 망슈 디 두르바이나 아니 단다 두텐천찰라 소고 소야라야 페주치기도 왔으라 벤줄 망슈디 베나탄 잠블리난 객 규체슈 소리 인차서 하고라 객 규체슈도 속이 두텐천차 빼먹무 속다 라 담민 랍고 말다 아니 객업 카시기 롱바 카시기 벤 두텐천차 동자야메 서여를 생각하스라 다 두텐천차 동자직 소야기 규제들 가주스단 거스라 벤주 가주스단 거래 잠블링고 쿠유 베이다 가주스 쿠유라 아니 너긴 차가 버렸어 들은 선저 성운이 대다 디 미규 가래 들은 선자 미규 가래 셴바 매바 소약체 셴 짬에 땅약체 인지 수수 다 매바슬라고 딘 간진 도르드나 셴란 내바 시약체도 들은 선저 소거라서 디 겹종을 때와나 다 다 오늘 다시 시행을 내버지는 되게 말이 삼비 로드 매반자 삼로드 매반자 닌지기 삼바드 매반자 아니 시행 또리야기 락차 속어라스라 잠부시는 딘디여라스라
So in the world, there are many world leaders that are creating a lot of great resources, very useful resources within the world. But we can ask, well, what is actually the benefit of these increased or more diverse technologies? Yeah. So most of them actually relate to harmful products, yeah. In particular, a nuclear weapon could be created from these greater levels of technology. We don't need to mention the name of particular countries, but there are many that are making and hoarding, keeping these nuclear weapons, yeah. Many thousands of nuclear weapons, and they pour a lot of funding into gathering the material to get these nuclear weapons. Now, what is the objective of this? What is the purpose behind it? It is to harm others, to remove others. Yeah. So we can say that even though they may have great intelligence and there is great technology, but since they do not have the thought that says that it's not okay to harm others, then they go ahead and do these things. So they do not have the thought of care and compassion towards others. Yeah. So if we speak honestly, then this is a very dangerous situation. Lazarus.
딘자 다들이 다 딘지기 빼나 두텐 선자소야 선자소야 안 딘지 조송 망시 될단 거라다 조송 빼 맞으바 빼 아니 텐범 계절이다스라 먼저 야타카시 똥타카시 밀린 카시 계절이면서 텐범기 계절이다스라 찍소야라야 두텐 선자 찍소야라야 아니 돌람 빌린 코란 땅거다 근데 가니 레고레스 그자디 망체지 아니 메세기 자니 챌린지 메세 간주 명망 레가치 쇼라 체게 체드니 용기여라서라
Nikagene legicede edicotso
미디어 말도 메세
misalata
망기잖아
mim
망
population.
야 이제 용거라서라 뜻다 아니 명망 깔리 쇼기야거다 당한서 오스트레일리아 동거다 깔리 쇼기야다 쇼기네 공다바 레갈 트티와치에더니 칸라테 로렌테 추렌테 에더니 좀 체체 레가 쇼다다 깔리 쇼다 디 깔리 잡자죠 차시직디 아니 야삭 칸란 칸sam지 잠블 네버 제기 귤 땅샤바나 그러니까 로방불에다스라 당부샤바나
So these weapons or nuclear weapons and others, they cost a lot of money. Yeah, as we know, many billions of dollars are poured into creating these weapons. Now, where does this money come from? It comes from the hard work of the population of the community paying their taxes and so forth. Yeah, they work from morning to evening. They go here and there, and they work very hard to earn their wages. But the portion of that money goes to the government in our taxes. Yeah. So the fact is that a part of that money that we are contributing it's very disappointing to see that they're becoming a cause and condition for creating harmful objects.
These Tanganzo Devi Lordula Tenra, Devi Lordinal, then Zambulan Mountru, the Marchen Tambunival Sova, the Mountru Shonyorasra, Tandaina, the Mountru Dujashu, Jabdegora, Mountru, the Lonis on the Mountru Javnera, the Ukraine, the Russia, the Mountru Javni, Mountru D. Gembe, Zambulin Korona, Gangan Chegdasra. Gangan Chegora, the Benjo Gangan Chegori. The Benjo Gangan Town, some of the Gangan Town, the Mongba Karanzu Turabaya, Zambalindi, Chambudan, Shidi Yovach, Mangtu Mevach, Sogo Sambi, Gohong Kenny, Semshu Kenny, Lobjon Chivana, Jasha Jadam, Zambalina, Lega Yawachi Tugres, Ra, Australia Chibu Maris, Suzulomba Chibu Maimba, Zambalin Koranalaya, and in Penochi down to a Legacy Tugras. The Desan Zambali Chunju Chasaras. Desan Zambali Chuzun Yusabjan on Zambalina, Khan and Rotugora. Zambalin Nezu Karim by the Chuzun Yusabjan and Kotugora, Hakotugoras. Then dig Zambalin Chunju Chasares. Bena Yanala Tamandiva Chanang, Australia and Nugudasra. Arila Tamandiva Chan, Australia and Nugudasra. Ukraine, the big Russia, the Zula, and the Tamandiva Chanting on the devil dinging and Nugudasra. Dindig be Chunju Chasayanza and the Lega Chigina, Lega Chedi with Chasayas. Never Tangena, never down to ya, Pendo Chigina, Pendo Chetuach, to Dindigil Leovanza, and the Ninji down, Faxam, Zambalina, Faxam, and Tinyam, the Namju, Sheriff Giovanna, just Jadam, Yahushu Chagrasra. That the Yawarmaji Kadin didn't like this, man. The Lama Kadin didn't like this.
So in history, over the years, there have been various world wars, as we know, the First and Second World War, and more recently, in the last few years, we have a conflict between Russia and the Ukraine. So when these countries, they have conflict, then that actually affects the rest of the world, in terms of our receiving and moving resources and so forth. This all affects the rest of the world. Now, as young people in the future moving forward, this is your time to try to be motivated, to carry the enthusiasm, to not be not establishing the situation that there will be future conflict and war. So working for the benefit not only of Australia, but of the entire world to be of benefit, So rather than being a world of conflict, then in this 21st century, as we know, the world is getting smaller and smaller, And what in one area there is conflict, then the other area and in other areas in the world, they are all affected, And we know that within a very short time, within maybe 24 hours, we're able to hear about or even visit various places. So in this way, the world is becoming very small, So if there is conflict between China and then maybe Australia, or likewise America and so forth, then we can see that the world itself is getting very small, and dependent, So which is also exemplified by the conflict in Ukraine. Yeah. So, but now moving forward into the future, it is our time and your time to, rather than looking at conflict, but to share with others something that is beneficial, with compassion, with love, but especially with a special type of courage, confidence. So His Holiness the Dalai Lama really says and mentions like this on a regular basis.
Tadini ninji jango warasra. Lo singi di manzu lobjong kanga tagaranda. Lobjong jangni shinro yazra. Ta jango wara. Ta ninji kandas jango rese. Ra. Ta nganzu ninji jangi tab mambu yarda. Ninji ki pena digi statue ra. Chenrezi statue. Di gangi di ani chenrezi kodi. Chenrezi sayadi ninji ki la res. Ninji ki la. Ninji ki la tsego res. 인지 하디기다 생각이 엄마는 빼면 홍세. 당한주기 아니 인지 하고 인지 하고 생각장 되는 인지기 돌아 상못도 치니 인지 장거레스. 가디는 아주 많이 장거레스. 엄마는 빼면 홍세. 딩냠도 인지 공거레스라.
So, in order to do this, we must learn what compassion is. What is compassion? There are many methods to develop our understanding of what compassion is. So you can see there's a statue behind Geshe there. This is the Chinrezig statue. And Chinrezig, or Avalokiteshvara, is the embodiment of all of the compassion, And the mantra that is associated with Chinrezig is the Om Mani Padme Hum mantra, So one recites this mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, and one meditates on the Chinrezig image, and then one thinks about the mind of compassion. So as we reflect about that, we recite the Om Mani Padme Hum mantra.
되니 단 조닌지디 균생 릭박 토니 상무단 인지 장거레스. 되실라다.
That's it. So, so, so mainly when we think of compassion, it's not only thinking about compassion, but it's using reason and logic.
되다 다 가르레스 라운디 인지 세야디 동하 드타는 지마로 냐바지. 동하 마촌나 마론 마촌로 체나 삼비 로저라스. 사비 인지기 로디기 진단데 딘디시레스. 더 로디기 더 성당다 저 동하 마촌로 시세디. 디 아니 먼저 사물로야 동하 마촌로 치는 지마로 냐비 로지 초그라스라. 만 사물로기 대화 되고 요래 동안 되고 요 말았어라. 만 사물 드린데는 좀야디 먼저 대화지기 쳇 탈뚜나 근센 탈뚜는 먼저 대기지기 쳇도 먼저 로종 치고를 먼저 델리고래 기부지 존나 삼 레고라서라. 아들이 누구지 요라치는 삼 용이 지요 말았어. 이제는 삼만 다님 로 대화다 동안 문대보다 삼만 다님 로왔어. 디 삼로 따야디 ninji 장인기 미디기 samlu nangla shiza di yogo wadi shinun keshimu chago resda.
So when we're thinking of what that reason and logic are, then the thought of what compassion is a thought or a mind that is regards that all sentient beings be free from suffering. It is unsuitable for any living being or sentient being to meet with any form of suffering. This is what compassion means. So may suffering not occur for any living being. So this way of thinking we can conceive, we can bring about in our own minds this way of thinking, because we're all the same in wanting happiness and not wanting to experience suffering. Even coming here today, this was with the motivation to, well, I would like, it'll be quite enjoyable. I will be happy to come and visit. Nobody came with the motivation that I want to come along and suffer or be uncomfortable. Yeah. So all living beings are in the same boat, so to speak, are all equal in wanting to experience happiness and to avoid suffering. So these ways of thinking are really actually very important. Ursula.
There dinza disongdan dan le lawo do ji do sra le lawo da so pen so labra na lo yimban so zun zin zin ji wan zin kan de nang gi bu chama lo la kar go gore lobjon ya bu go gora sra lobjon ya bu shin go gora sra bu chama lo ki bu go gora dinza so zun zin ji wa chama lo ki bu yo ra chi na sam lo ji ya wa na ani zin ji wa su ya bu cha wa na sem na la ga wa le gres 간선 들지고 수인나 야구 총으로 친나 삼빌로 소설을 여반자 보고 수 야구 차는 소설을 가발리 그래서 아 코나 야구 차서 야구를 했어 가발리 그래서 가발레와나 가리를 소설 키우 차 그래서 라 진진난 조 차도 사사다 콘트로 사사지 여반나 기부문도 하서라 딘디기 삼로디 소설 나는 출렌 소설 찍고 대디비 깔아야 삼로 딘디지 레바나 소설 기부문도 하서라 요 말았어 다 야구 총으로 친나 삼빌로 디여반나 수 야구 총나 때디 야구 총서 야구를 했어 삼빌로 지여반나 소수 찍고 대되는 소수 기부여랬어요. 딘디 상당다 야차자다만 닌지 장투 그래 장여요래 닌지 장 계란줄래 닌지 게임 그래서 닌지 게임디 수찍라 네버 마시고 삼비기 로디 낭길래요 그래서 삼로디 낭길래요 그래서 디 지기찬이 아니 참말로 에는 진짜 참말로 소수 줘버 차려야지 용쓰기 그래서
So this way of thinking is actually quite easy, to understand and conceive of. So for example, when we take all the other students in the class and we wish them to experience happiness and to study well, this is a natural way of thinking that all the classmates need to, that you wish to see them perform well and to study well. So when you see others doing well and achieving what they set out to do, then you yourself can feel very happy for them. You can feel a sense of joy. Yeah. So, and when you feel that sense of joy and feel happy for them, you yourself feel happy for them. Whereas if one is jealous or angry, then therefore you yourself are not happy. You're unhappy. And then once you get home, you may reflect about your jealousy or your anger that was directed to your classmate. And you may reflect, well, I'm not happy. I wasn't happy when I was feeling those jealousy and anger. So, but if we have a sense of appreciation and joy at seeing other people's achievements, then you yourself are feeling very happy. So you can be certain that you are able to cultivate this feeling of compassion. Yeah, we can learn this feeling of compassion. And then finally, we can develop that thought that considers may not even one person experience unhappiness, experience suffering, that all beings experience happiness. So if we can develop that in the situation that we have at the moment amongst our classmates, then all of the classmates can become very friendly among each other. This is very possible.
There's 기부 세드로 기부 세드 솔바지레스 솔바 다 남베 쉐바나 셈기 로이 차시지레스 기부 세드 잘라 마레스 아주 미기 통대야기 아니 가리여바 뜻하면 디마레스 기부 세드 랑기 아니 셈기 솔바지레스 셈기 솔바데 셈기 차시지레스 셈기 차시인지도 셈기 쌈로 당단지기 토니 기부 차고 그래서 인자 간지 셈 기부여나 셈바 기부여바나 미디 기부 차그래서 자기 연날에 매날에 기부여래서 단지 더마시 등한 좋다 로종 체부가 돼 자살 칼라 야부여 말에 둘로 니마 딱바 찍는 데야리마도 지부자요 말에 임바이나야 기부페요 셈바 기부페요인자 기부 삼에 연구도 하시라 칼라당 지 아니 대사단 tunjin 자위다 간솔 고거다 이네야 셈바 기부 여바나 약슈드 테레스
So when we speak of the mind of happiness, this from a Buddhist perspective is a feeling, but the happiness, that feeling of happiness is an aspect of our minds. It's not a physical object, but an aspect of our minds. Our way of thinking. So when you think, well, if the mind is happy, then we consider the person as being happy. So even though when Geshe was studying in the monastic university, even though the food was very poor and they only had one set of clothing, the situation was quite poor, but they were able to remain and keep their minds happy, regardless of their resources and their situation. So really, this is the best thing, keeping our minds happy, regardless of the external conditions. Sorry. So maybe we spoke a little bit too much.
And 저한테 연어라 이 렌자시는 렌자 저거랬어.
Let's hope.
Yeah,
let's hope. So if you have any questions, if you would like to ask them, then if Geshe is able to answer them, then he will provide an answer. If you have any questions, you're welcome to ask them.
Thank you for answering this question.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for answering this question, Geshe. And I have been unwell now for several months of non-life-threatening illness, but I have found that I have been overwhelmed with the physical discomfort, just completely overwhelmed. And although I have meditation practice each day, I have found it hard to get beyond that overwhelm of the physical body, of the discomfort. So I'm just wondering whether you can give some advice about that, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Moiki, dawa kachi kirila, eni supun nasa shuchipu nyong tegire. Ine shu chenpo din haza de shu chenpo yontu sapula muiki gom gab yoda yang yiri tatung sem sem di utuk ne te tuki mare sem utuk ne te utuk song ra utuk song ne kom gab yoda yang yiri tatung sem la be you know 사기치기 any 호투네 any 대투기 말에 any this labja 예배 계시라
저당 종들 고다더라. 먼저 카리인 바이나야. 아니 장고로 왔으라. 먼저 람상 교단 초저도 요마로 왔으라. 이번에 안주 미세 나올이야 카리나야. 네수 카리나 용구요레스더라. 먼저 까불라 나사 용구요레 까불라 타만데 까불라 기부 용구요레 이번 디참로 유트로거레스. 아 유트로거레스. Tering kanga dukja shu chebayna te di pedita tada nga misipe cholan rosu sambayna di norwares. Tering kanga cheba di ku gyuda kenjila tene kanga cheyore inaya di gyudogres. Kanga di nima takpa chikpa chin deg marwas. Gyu rangshin chinji imba di samlu tang tubayna sosula kanga chebaynandra sosula chik yakbu karich yombaynandra gyuwi rangshin chin jin bachin ta thukbayna koran gyuwi rangshin chin res gyuwi rangshin chin yinba di gyuwi rangshin chin yinba di semna samlo tang thukbayna ane sosu sem di karso ta chik hajangi pendus mahimba kanyambu deyala tenden pendo yores ta
so when you are practicing the reflection is going to take time. It's going to take a lot of practice, and it's our reflection is not going to change quickly, or overnight, But when we sit and reflect about, in general, there are many variety of situations that we must experience, Sometimes we get sick, sometimes we are happy, sometimes we're unhappy, and so forth. But when we look at the general situation, we can see that all of these things are undergoing transformation or are in the nature of change. So whereas if we think today I'm unwell, then on that basis, then the rest of my life I'm going to be stuck in this situation. But we fail to see that these difficult situations come up due to certain causes and conditions. And due to that, then they're necessarily going to have to change and transform eventually. So if we understand that all of these situations, difficult and otherwise, are in the nature of change and transformation, then this thought will be a benefit when we experience difficult situations. And this may help you to, rather than being extremely at one level of agitation or so forth, but if keeping in mind this thought of change and transformation, that it will help our minds be much more balanced. Personally.
Can you use your unhappiness as a place from which to understand other people's happiness and therefore deepen compassion through that path?
So just to clarify, you use your unhappiness to understand other people's happiness or unhappiness?
To understand other people's unhappiness.
Okay, it's just I wasn't sure if you were referring to other people's happiness or unhappiness. Can you use your own unhappiness to understand the other people's unhappiness, and using that thought, you deepen your compassion? Is that your question?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So Suzuki, me keeping Nyamyong, yeah, any Empe me keeping Nyamyong, and the Kosume, any Suzuki, Shen La, and Nietzsche, Keagi Pento, Duke.
Geshe Jatamba. Geshe Jatamba yours. The deacon to the pay hours.
So yes, definitely, 100%. Your question is very good, very good.
The Susula Kibu Machundi Dunga Mundibilo countries Yemi Susu Nyamyong Nyoi Trugoras. Tela Pani Shenla Dunga Chuna Chikpara Sambi Sound di Geshe Jatamba Tang Webachirendo Asra. Tinza and Susula Dunga Mudeba Nanshi Shen Dunga Dugmeba Chikpa Chikan Badi Gunsen Tel Deni Hakores. Tinza Shen Dunga the Tran Chimaru Yambi Lord Kichogores. The Ding injuries.
So if we are able to use our own experiences of unhappiness and not wanting to experience suffering, then we'll be able to infer that others who are actually in the same situation, that when they experience suffering and unhappiness, that they also do not wish to experience that. So they're in the same situation. So then on that basis, on that mutual understanding or that understanding of self and others, then one is able to generate the mind of compassion that wishes not even one sentient being to experience suffering. Masala.
Dinza Rangs Lawn the Michigros. Nasan the Michigros. Shens Lawn the Tamevan, Tamevachiki, Nedin Tugoras. Dinza Michik Nedin de Da, Mitameva Nedin Dini, Karikacharis Lavana. Mitameva the Nedin the Kicherosra. Kicherosra. The Dindi Ripa Gunsen sometimes does that. Dindi Samlo de la Sheriff Segores. The Gunsen Titon the Dunga Mundeva, the Devan doing it Samolaya, Dunga Major China Sambi Lodi, Ninjires. That did the Ninji the Sheriff Song the Dreadon there, Diton Lake Dosra.
So when we look, then we can see that we ourselves are one individual. We're just one person, yeah. And when we look, others are actually limitless when we compare to just ourselves. We are one person, whereas others are limitless in number, yeah. So we take our own individual situation and then we compare that to the situation of others. They are limitless in number, actually. Yeah. So what is more important? Is one's individual situation important, more important? Or is these situation of limitless other people, other beings. What is more important? So you can see, using your own reason and logic, that the numberless other beings, their situation is much more important than just one. Yeah. So when we think along these lines, then we can think this is a way of cultivating our wisdom, our intelligence. Yeah. So then when you conjoin that thought with a wish that all living beings be free from suffering, that not even one sentient being has suffering, experiences suffering, then this is a thought of compassion. And if you use the other thought that for the regarding the limitless other beings, then this is a union of that wisdom and compassion working together. Let's
Geshe and Jen, this is not a question, but I would just like to share with everybody that my father passed away through the night, and I would just like to thank you for being such a beautiful, safe space to be here to celebrate his life. He was a beautiful man. Thank you.
Kosse Dankon ini koki moki pala tronsa ini chirhezigi chhesote lemne ini be kipo ini sucha shiwa la sopa ini be yabudusa ini chuje che shugyusa kogi pala ini be mi yapo mi yarab la sopa ini dita butsun.
Geshe.
Yes.
Kerangi nga gen yorwa. Ni gengi ani mulam jawandi mulam jaya ki tsik jiyores. Tanda ngi tam master yana menade lama tsunka bares ra kongi song shaya song jiyore. Genga di dil lagaji mulam gomares. Mulam jaya yakshu di mulam tongtama sayajore. Din doyan dires. Nga genga kadino songu yos nga gengi. Dinzangi keran palak chedo mulam di jing döngu indas ra nga keran zu nyero chis ta tsaman dönshing marwa.
So Geshe's teacher would advise a particular prayer, yeah, and these words were written by Lama Tsongkhapa, and it's called Tsultrim in Tibetan. So Geshe will recite this prayer for the sake of your father. So even though you may not be able to recite it yourself, but just listen as Geshe recites this prayer for the purpose, for the sake of your father. That's all.
You're welcome. Choju Java Sedan Jeba Tamjela Changzelo Tayen Rowa Sili Doji Tamen Malon Lasam Davidu Humi Kunju Sunjin Tudoji Transon Dui Denzin Drugi Dani Kishin Kiwa Tamjedo Nansong Andrew Lobber Tongai Kenen Namsu Nayan Mikishin Tanjun Sami Muluto Show Kema Tani Sigvi Devala Nayan Maja Tava Toji Ninjon Sambin Sanju Turvala Sondru Loba Mebon Jubor Show Dan Rabdun Jomar Jebala Kordanyen Dolonja Kangikan Keje mebar tüm bir yanım kon çizer samba çizin cübürşo. Rabdun joni çizi soye baran kenlav janga çizer kenlajin çidan rajin kanamando nibe nayan kubur ma göçi sanjo danla teba çemboye. Sabjan gaji çunu çinye ba manam tündü keva tomayı keva padu mebar cübürşo londo yonde tüm bir gündüzün ombu şizin rabdun yenzi. Shendun gömür ribe nyendolcin shenyen dambi jizun zambar 다동의 첨부 템바다를 르솔론조 군지여면 신년 담발 레버 니제니 미니케지 상야 메제 sab주저다 trevi sheshen to londo tremi chuyo mala 제대로 다던 거라 년부터 제대로 달라 다던도 버 돈배 공유 된을 치셔비 다실 다와 좀 제법 매기신이 디비 전원지 온도 나면서 마주직 파슴 넘버 답에 다진시에 존줄하바 매비 농기 퇴송 공비 퇴선 레든 요진 코면 솔레 저거쇼 지자만도 퇴단 라버 남다 수준 남주 시르지 다주 라버 교와 대중 지신 경원권다 저거쇼 남다 리비 또지 손을 지신제라 현자문 접이 기비 감도 타이 손을 몸바 매비 퇴버 제버쇼 제대로 퇴비 된라 리버시 닌다선도 수진랍다니 삼신내라 삼내중앙 남절로의 태종 처벌쇼 강제 신도 사비 추절 삼신로의 니신이비치 전디 태원집의 종리 엠버덴의 추진 처벌쇼 태서 퇴송 공비 자와 고면에는 줄로 준비세 슬라감비 전디 나온 란덴도빌 어느 먼저쇼 다기도병 우보 탐제라 마잘로의 세나 중세디 통말 선선 준비 숨전 코드드는 주지 총세쇼 제대로를 하버처와 인주선비 선주 처벌 소기지연 동을 메시비 타베진서 다도는 달라든전 산주 순전놈 통원투서 일라 참비 콘트레션 하야 대다기 연대저저 소벌 감버쇼 까비츠노 마도토바 통농콘데 콘도페발레 냠버시비레로 넘버 콘네반데 존주 som버쇼 선단네벨 한도도다제 신단네벨 니질랭기 펜저스바 뱀버 제바예 신네반데 손 손절 공버쇼 넬루도베스 내루 삼미탄라 따지네 로진이저 동원 총선비 로비 당연 타다라번 최근도는 동을 떠버서 농다 라바팀에 숨지 담배 민비래란 지금에 투제 개조 세주제는 나기 도병 우버 탐절라 양다 남도 로비 랑의 슈 미기 신이 되게 총 먼저 나야 저 얼마 주지 강에 대한 나기 되라도 야외가베 라랑 거버서 다기 지도 좀 생기지 로면 와서 뽑아 초전에 강균도에 탑지지선 문을 dembe janzen zum barjo dan kan du jen to ba song de zum tong de ze rezu jo dan onju chera serin na me de da dem barjo da gi le da so da onju gyun de se be samba den de she da la me ni jo ba de da dan la bar ma jin cham ju ji da gi de ru mo do da be jin ji gong be chan ju sum la song da be gyu la ji jin la me chen ju kong go de barjo ma long de da kang gin tong ye la tem ba che ba de da jang ja sin nong ji ma lo la ba ma lu zhu la shun ba me barjo la song da be to bi le de ja chen ma lo da ban du yin 물론바를 첨부 용선 루진군지레와 공월쇼 Thank you. 아니 나디 미수기 레와잖아. 아니 님물럼든 된데기였어. 라당한데 아 게긴로체 아니 도스데디기 땅아 게시지기 미여레. 아니 민망봉알아야 아니 지 파마 총송 빈자 총송 남이치 차송 물론 자로 생기는 망부 연구여레스 된생이 가도 있는 뜻체데 아니 디 된구여스 데 딜을 하가지 물론 내 메교로 디어레스라 한딩아 갱기 가도 있는 것들이 약수 딜을 송반자 이 디지송 된데여스 야자자던 바 팽게레스라
So that particular prayer, regardless of who is asking, and Geshe recites that particular prayer. If that's people have said that their family member has passed away, a friend or relative has passed away, or some bad situation, then there's no other prayer that is better to recite than the one that Geshe just recited. Yeah, and that is because Geshe's teacher advised Geshe that this particular prayer was the best prayer in these situations to recite. So you can feel confident that it's be of benefit. That's it.
Thank you so much, Geshe. Thank you so much, Jen. Thank you for that. Thank you so much, Geshe. Thank you so much, Jen. And I am just so happy and thankful. Thank you.
welcome. Yeah. Thank you. Ani kyaran lobtruk so jen kawo chong songs. Kyaran so lobchong yakbo mong bala ya ngoni Australia nani. Ani 미야고 아니 멤sembalaya 펜토 투니 아니 용야기 물놈이스.
So Gish would like to say thank you to you all, and especially thank you to the students. Yeah. So if in the future you can be of benefit to others, yeah. So a benefit to Australia, in general, then Gish will make prayers, especially that you all study well, that everything goes well for you, and that you'll be of benefit to others in the future. Listen.
니 삼로이저라 니기 달래가치 니 내가 가르쳐 봐야냐 당간 델 데요반자 나 오스트레일리아 데요반자 니 오스트레일리아의 펜토토에 내가 최고를 삼는 로디기스 로 지당가 계사 별레 롭존치서 야갈레 야갈레양아 공바요리 알레 기주 칸칸자위 아니 알레 초보망부여 니 콘주기 체도 내가 체나 제대가 오스트레일리아 용체니 콘주기 체등이 벤주 내가 체는 제촉으로 왔어라 미망부 지기 열어 왔어라 이능이 지기메스 만델 디기연자 나 디 밀이야 펜토토야지 대한지 내가 삼마연 바지 로자타 망부르려야 지금 롬번 디기 밀이야 펜토토야 내가 체투나 삼 마투신 로디기스 띵이 삼마장장인스로 샘 삼마장장인스 도시
So Gish has thought that he'd just like to share with you that his whatever activities that he does is for the purpose of benefiting where he is now in Australia, to be a benefit and to help others in this country, even though Geshe was born in Tibet and then he studied in India, even though there's many friends and students in India, and he could be working for their benefit. But Geshe feels that since Geshe is in Australia, then it's most important to work for the benefit of those in Australia. And that work is to be of use, of help for many hundreds of years into the future here. Here in Australia. So Geshe's real motivation is intention is very pure. That's it.
Thank you. So we'll go to page 12 in the same booklet for the final Lamrim prayer. For my two types of merits as vast as space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become a chief leading Buddha for all those whose mind's wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion and for all lives Manjushri. May I find the best of the complete graded paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path that I have discerned them. May I uphold the Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most pressings have not yet spread, whereas once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time, by even this greater path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing excellent paths never be parted in all their lives from the purest paths praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone who makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may he be always assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. Thank you.